on, Marines, move out! Game over, man! Game over! Hey guys, it's Colonial Marine Emma here. So, if you've been following me on Instagram for quite a while now, you'll know that when I finished playing Alien Isolation the first time, I said the next game I was going to review was this game. I played a year ago now, about maybe the first 2 or 3 missions, and I gave up because I didn't like it. So, that's gone. So what I will be reviewing is this game, which is Aliens Colonial Marines. For whatever reason, I have the Extermination Edition. Whatever. So, basically, I will read you the synopsis in the booklet. This will be I've got my notes here, a spoiler review. It's basically going to be part game review and part my impression of the story. So, I'm going to be telling you about the story, what happens in the story. So, if you don't want to know, go buy the game and play it, or at first, and then come and watch this, or watch one of the many walkthroughs of this game if you want to just, see the story first and be surprised at all the bits in it. I watched, actually, when I finished playing this, I watched one the whole way through to just make sure I didn't miss anything so I could do this review. And I watched there's 2 guys, and it's just hilarious. They're really good, so I'm going to include a link to their first part below. The only thing about that one is that they didn't upload the last mission, so you can watch that somewhere else. But if you want to watch it through first, a walkthrough, then I will leave the link below to the first video of theirs. So let's get to this. So, as I say, it's Aliens, Colonial Marines, and it says, fight the fear. So, taking place 17 weeks after the 1986 science fiction masterpiece, Aliens, Colonial Marines is the video game continuation of Aliens that dives headfirst into the rich tapestry that was originally created over 25 years ago. This game came out in, a while ago now. I think it was 3 years ago. I think it was 2013. 25 years ago, a distress signal sent out by Corporal Dwayne Hicks is picked up by the Conestoga-class ship USS Sephora, but upon their arrival, something is not as it should be. The ship Ellen Ripley, Hicks, and Newt were on, the USS Sulaco, is back in orbit over LV-426, and not over the planet Fury 161, as it should be. The Marines of the Sephora investigate the ship and begin to unravel a mystery involving the Corporation Weyland-Yutani. Can the Marines figure out how the Corporation is involved with what is happening on the surface of the planet before it's too late? So, basically, that is the basic plot of the game. So, it starts like a movie, which I really liked. So it comes in and it's 20th Century Fox presents and blah blah blah, and starring, and it has the voice actors' names, which I thought was really cool. And it actually has in this game, first spoiler alert, it has in this game the voice talents of Michael Biehn and Lance Henriksen, which is really cool because I think in some of the trailers for this game you saw a clip of a distress call that Hicks makes. Now, this isn't in the movie, this is just for this game, and it is his voice. So that's really cool. So he is, in this game, his voice is in this game. It's not just some guy supposed to be Hicks, it is Hicks. So I really like that touch. And Lance Henriksen is in this because this new set of Marines from the Sephora that are going on to see what's going on, they have their own bishop. So Lance Henriksen is bishop. So that's really cool. So he did this as well. He's done a few things, I think, for these kind of games. So that was awesome. So you have some of the original proper cast as well in this follow-up game to the movie. So I really like that. It makes it feel more like a proper follow-on from Aliens because it starts like a movie and, it's set 17 weeks after this movie. So I really enjoyed that, and that's just the start. So you play a Marine called Winter, and you're basically, the start of the game, you're going across from your ship, the Sephora, to the Sulaco. to basically see what the hell has gone on over there and why it's back over LV-426. So you get across to the Sulaco and you open up into the Sulaco, and basically you're in the area where, in the end of Aliens, Ripley and the Power Loader versus the Queen, they had the big fight. You're in that big open area where the dropship lands into the main Sulaco Bay. Right? So as soon as you get on there, there's fan service right away. You look down and Bishop's legs are just on the floor with their little kind of bits dangling out of his waist from when the Queen ripped him in half in Aliens. So that's awesome. You see floor panels like ripped up from where the Queen was looking for Newt as well. So that's awesome as well. So that's like, you know, say a few minutes into the game and you're getting that. So I was excited. I was like, even though I've heard terrible things about this game, I was like, so you get your fan service there. When you get on board, basically you have to find all the other groups. There was at least 2 other groups of Marines that had gone on before you, and we don't know what's happened to them. We haven't heard back from them, so basically you're going in to also find out what the hell's going on with them, what has happened. So you're going to find all these Marines. You go down into a nest, and you see eggs, you see Marines up on the walls with like the holes in their chests, so that's cool. One of the Marines is still alive, so you have to cut him down, and that's when you encounter the alien for the first time. It's not a massive big thing, like I don't know if they could have made it better, but you basically just have to, you've got guns, so you just like shoot the hell out of them and blow them up, and then cut this guy down. So that's your first encounter with the alien. There's not much of a build up, but you are walking through the nest and all of a sudden it just is there when you're trying to cut this guy down. So that is kind of cool, but I don't know. So then your one of your other missions later on is you have to find this other Marine called Bella. Now she becomes like more, she sticks through the game. So she becomes a main character. And when you finally find her, the door where she's hiding behind opens, and you see her standing there, and there's this dead facehugger just like on the floor, like, and she was like, "Oh yeah, there was this thing on my face when I woke up, but it's dead. I'm fine." And you're like, "Yeah, right, Bella." So like you spend the rest of this part of the game going like, "When's she gonna die?" But you basically, after you find her, you're trying to get out because there's like pretty much no other Marines left alive. So you're trying to escape, obviously battling aliens as you go back to meet with the rest of the Marines to get on a dropship to get the hell out of there, because you're like, okay, this isn't salvageable, let's just go. You do manage to, after some battling and fighting and shooting and everything, get into the dropship, but there's like explosions and everything's going on, so the dropship ends up just flying back into orbit to LV-426 and crash landing on LV-426. So you're like, oh shit. And the Marines that are left alive have to make their way to Hadley's Hope. Now, this was probably the first main bit where I was like, wait, what? Because if you've watched Aliens, you know what happens at the end. One of the big power core reactor things goes nuclear and the whole planet basically blows up. So even if the whole planet didn't blow up and, further away the derelict was left unscathed, Hadley's Hope would be a big hole in the ground. I'm just saying. So when you walk around a corner and Hadley's Hope is there, and there's the sign saying Hadley's Hope, and yeah, it's blown up, but it's still there. There's levels and stuff. It's not just a big hole in the ground, but there's nothing left. That was kind of okay, just suspend your disbelief, just play this game, let's just carry on. Because it wouldn't be there, guys, it wouldn't be there. I even went back and watched the end of Aliens just to make sure that there was a massive explosion, and there damn well is a massive explosion, so it would not be there. But never mind, carry on. Just keep playing. It is cool that it's there though, because you get to explore these movie locations, so you get to walk around Hadley's Hope. You're doing stuff, you're not just wandering around, but you get to explore. And also, along with exploring these movie locations, there are like pickups along the way that you don't have to, but you know they're there as options to pick up. So you get audio logs, you get dog tags, and you get legendary weapons. So if you like pause the game or whatever, it will tell you, or go to like the mission bit to find out what your mission is. It will also tell you how many of them you've got in this mission left to get. And the audio logs are kind of cool. Some of them are just, you know, like just a random doctor that you don't know who the hell they are, just saying like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea, studying these things, blah blah blah. You know, it's just like it's like you've collected it, but it doesn't really mean much. Some of them though are pretty cool for fans, because there's one that's Newt's mum, and it's an audio log where basically her mom is sending a message to, I think it's her mom, asking for money so that, because they're like broke, so that they can get a ship off of LV-46 out of Hadley's Hope and back home, because after her husband had the facehugger on him, he's acting weird, and he says he's fine, but I don't think he's fine, and like this is before like the whole chaos ensued and all that, so that was kind of cool hearing that. The dog tags, again, they're like, you know, the cast from the original, so you get like, you know, dog tags for Vasquez and whoever. You can pick them up along the way, and again, it doesn't do anything, but it's kind of cool just to pick them up. They are quite hard to find though, so if you're doing that, you could watch a walkthrough and find out where some of them are. The last thing, as I mentioned, is the legendary weapons. Again, kind of cool. There's the weapons that the characters use in the movie, in Alien. So you get like Hicks' shotgun that he like hides behind his back and takes out when, you know, all their weapons, all their magazines are taken, because they're not supposed to be fighting in that place, and he takes out for Close Encounters. So his is one. I think there's like Hudson's pulse rifle. I don't think I found that one. You get Vasquez's smart gun, and that's cool because it actually has her bandana like wrapped around one of the bits, so you know it's hers. So that's kind of cool. And there's like Gorman's pistol and stuff. Like some of them are just like, this is pointless, I'm never gonna be able to kill an alien with this. But some of them, it's cool to just have. But the annoying thing is some of them you can't seem to, like Hudson's, Hicks's shotgun, like it's in your inventory now, that's fine. But I think with Vasquez's smart gun, you couldn't keep it. Like if you ran out of ammo, you just dropped it. Or if you wanted to use another weapon, you just dropped it. It wasn't like just in your inventory, which was really annoying. So that was kind of weird. But it was cool to just pick up those kind of things. Now, the actual game, there are 11 missions, which is quite a short game, which is fine, but it's quite short. It doesn't take that long, if you can actually get through it. And as I said, you're playing with these legendary weapons, or some of them, or whatever you find, but there is a mission where you don't have to find it, it's given to you, just a smart gun, not Vasquez's one, just a smart gun. So there's a mission where you're walking through a corridor with the smart gun, so you've got like your eyepiece on and you see like what you're supposed to see when you're using the smart gun in the movie. So that's kind of cool. So you're like, let's rock! Killing all these aliens that are coming at you through this corridor. So yeah, that's kind of cool. You also get to use the power loader once or twice. So that's kind of cool. There's not much to do with the power loader, but there are one or two things. Like you have to get in it to like open a doorway kind of thing, because it's dropped and you can't lift it yourself, obviously. There is like a battle, not a queen, but like an alien that's supposed to be like bigger, but it's not a queen. It's just like made up for this game. So you have to do that in the power loader. But that's about it. You don't use it much more than that. They have an APC, but you don't get to drive it, which is kind of like, oh, I would have liked to drive the APC, but never mind. And there's a mission later on to get this chest burster out of Bella. Well, we obviously all know how that's going to go. And part of that mission is also to rescue a captured Marine that has been there for a while, and you're like, oh, who could that be? I wonder, because you're led to believe it's like a character from the movie. And and while you're doing that, you actually get to walk through the derelict to get to where they're keeping him hostage, which is cool. So you get to walk through the derelict, and you get to go into like the main chamber, and you get to see the space jockey, and so that's cool. You know, another bit of fan service just to walk around movie locations. That's fun. I liked that. The captured Marine, basically the Weyland-Yutani troops are also on LV-426, and you have to fight them like a lot, like more than I would have liked, seeing as it's an Aliens game. But they are holding this Marine. So I was trying to figure out who it could be, and I was like, well, it could have been Hudson, because you didn't actually see him die in the movie. You just saw him get pulled down. I mean, you can assume where he went, but you just saw him get pulled down. You didn't actually see him die, and I'm pretty sure you saw pretty much every other character that died actually die. So I was like, it could have been Hudson. I wonder, but I'll go into that later. But it was actually, another spoiler alert, it was actually Hicks. And you're like, wait a minute, Hicks? How does that make any sense? He was killed at the start of Alien 3. But he explains that Weyland-Yutani hijacked his ship, the dropship that Ripley and him and Newt were on at the end of Aliens. They went on and switched the bodies and took him out. So that, there's a bit more, I'll go into that a bit more detail later as well. But yeah, so he kind of just explains it away, like, yeah, no, I'm still alive. But that's cool. So again, this is Michael Biehn. He gets to be in it more, because you don't know. You're like, oh, it's just because of that bit in the trailer. But no, he's in the game, so that's fun. You don't get to play as him, but you don't get to play as him, I don't think, but he is there, kind of working alongside you. So that's fun. And again, hearing his voice is just awesome. So that's cool. Basically, you spend the rest of the game trying to get off LV-426 and to take Weyland-Yutani down, because now you realise what they're doing. Like in every other movie, they're trying to breed these aliens and, you know, bioweapons division and all that. So you're trying to get the hell off the planet, but also take Weyland-Yutani down while you do it. So that they can't, you know, get away with this shit. So, I really enjoyed the story. Like, I know a lot of people, like, I don't think I actually found a good review for this game when I looked it up. I couldn't find a good one. Everyone hated this game. But I actually, as a fan, I actually really enjoyed the story. Because I felt, for me, it pretty much, apart from the Hadley's Hope still being there where it should be blown up, it pretty much fit into the Alien universe. For me, I made it work. I made it fit. But now on to the bad stuff, and there is a lot of bad stuff in this game. I'm not gonna lie, and I agree with a lot of the reviews out there. That there is a lot of bad stuff. So basically, in the Alien game, there are way too many humans to fight. As I mentioned previously, there's loads of Weyland-Yutani troops, and you know, you're shooting them for half the game. It's like, I thought this was an Aliens game. I don't want to fight humans. I would just play Call of Duty or Halo or something. I don't know. One of those games. But you know, there are parts where there are the troops that you have to fight and the aliens, and sometimes they help you by eating the troops, which is quite good, and then you kill them. So it's like they're doing half the job for you. Good aliens. The other thing, which is the main issue with this game, is it's glitchy as fuck. Like, it's so glitchy. It's ridiculous. There are floating aliens, like when you shoot them, with your pulse rifles and stuff, and they kind of like blow up, you'll see like a hand just floating in the mid-air. There's no reason for it to be there. Or like, I saw like half an alien body just like floating there, just in the middle of the air. You're like, what? And it's kind of like bobbing up and down. You're like, is it dead? Is it alive? Is this going to eat me or like kill me even though it's dead and there's only a bit of it left? Like, it was weird. It wasn't good. The graphics effects, it was just not on par. The character was reloading his gun for no apparent reason. I wasn't even pressing the reload button. I was trying to shoot or something. He had full ammo. There was no reason to reload, and the character was just going like this. Reload. It was like, there's nothing to reload. You're full of ammo. An alien is not eating you, you idiot. Oh, rage. Lots of shouting at the TV when I was playing this game. You also have teleporting aliens. like the part I mentioned where you're in the power loader and you're fighting this like large alien, not a queen, large alien. Just to clarify, and you have to, you know, like use your power loader arm to just like hit it in the head repeatedly. Every time I would hit the alien, all of a sudden it would appear further back. It was like, you were there a second ago, now all of a sudden you're over here. What? It was glitchy as fuck. The Marines also teleported, so sometimes they would just stand there, because you have like a group with you the whole time, pretty much for the whole game. You have at least one or two of them with you, and you're all like working together. Really working together? You're doing all the work, but whatever. But at some points, they're just like, you're pretty sure you're supposed to be going this way. And sometimes you're following them because you don't know where the hell you're going. You're like, you go first. You get eaten. I'm fine here. Sometimes they go ahead of you and that's fine, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just stand there looking around and you're like, well, I'm pretty sure this is where we go, up these stairs and in this door, because there's nowhere else for us to go. So you're like walking up and you like turn around and they're still just standing at the bottom of the stairs like la la la. So you just have to carry on, right? And sometimes when you're doing this, you're like way further, and then you can tell there's going to be like a save, kind of like a checkpoint, an auto save kind of thing. So just before that's going to happen, like just before you're going to go through a certain door, all of a sudden these blue lights appear and the Marines just appear in front of you, like bloody Star Trek or something. Teleportation is just like, boom, they're there. Well, you know, they're not supposed to be from Star Trek, they're Marines from Aliens, so they're not supposed to teleport. But whatever, that's whatever. So that was another thing. As I mentioned, the AI in this game is fucking terrible. They're no help at all. They just stand there sometimes. It's almost impossible, well for me anyway, I'm not a big gamer, but for me it was almost impossible for some missions to play on single player, which is the way I played this game. Because they just stand there. And they're supposed to, you know, shoot the aliens with you, and no. Or they do, but it doesn't really seem to do much. You're the one that has to do the killing blow. Obviously, they never run out of ammo, so they're always good on that. It's you that runs out of ammo. They don't die. They just fall down and just lie down until you've killed all the aliens, and then they get up again. Great, much help there, guys. Also, when you do die, it takes frickin' ages to load up again, which is more frustrating. So when you die, it's frustrating enough, but when you die and you know it's going to take ages, it's like, oh, it's so frustrating. There's this like death screen, so basically when you die, you like fall down, obviously, and the screen kind of goes greyed out, and there's like, even though you're dead, there's this kind of vital sign, you know, like in Aliens when they had all the vital signs up on the screens, there's like a vital sign kind of still going like this, even though you're dead. It should be going like this, but whatever. And there's like an alien standing over you that just killed you or something, and some of the things on the screen are like are still, and some of the things are kind of still moving, or they're like bobbing up and down, because again, graphics and screen, everything's terrible, glitchy as hell in this game. I've heard the graphics are better for the PC. I played this on the Xbox 360. I've heard the graphics are better on the PC, but I don't know because I haven't played it on the PC. The gore was quite good for the humans, like the Weyland-Yutani troop guys that you kill. Some of them, like, I mean, there's like blood and stuff for that, but when you're like, if you get them with like a grenade or something, you throw a grenade and they like blow up, or like their head just explodes or something, which is pretty cool. And when you go like up to them to go past, you'll see like an arm over here and like a leg over there. Like, that's kind of cool. I did like that. I do like a bit of gore. For the aliens though, obviously it's they're acid blood, so you shoot them and there's like green. But instead of like when you go past the Weyland-Yutani guys that you killed, like their bodies are there and that's that. But when you kill the aliens, for some reason, some of the bodies just seem to like just disappear, and doesn't look like it's acid melting them, and it wouldn't, because they don't have a problem with their acid blood, or they wouldn't be there, they would be dead. Their acid blood is not supposed to affect their bodies, but they just kind of just disappear. Now it's kind of weird. Again, another glitchy part of the game. It's just strange. The last mission was the easiest, which was I mean, it's fine that it's easy, but it was a letdown because you're like, this is the boss, like you're fighting the queen, and it was like a piece of piss. As I said, yeah, it was against the queen, and basically you just flick some buttons to activate something that pushes her out into space. To be honest, I didn't know how it worked, so like I flicked all the buttons, got to the big pushy button, and because she wasn't standing in front of it and I pushed the button, it went. I had to go and flip all the buttons again. It didn't matter because I could be standing right next to her, the queen, and she didn't kill me or anything. And you just like flick a button, go run and hide, and there's like armor to pick up all around the bit you're in, and like it was just like, this is probably the easiest bit in the whole game, like including the start of the game. This is probably the easiest bit in the whole game. So it was a bit of a disappointment. It was nice for it to be easy, but at the same time it was a bit of a disappointment. The very end, after that bit, after the big boss fight, the very end was even more disappointing. So basically you get to Mr. Wayland to kind of try and take down Weyland-Yutani, get all his information and, you know, take them down for good kind of thing. And Hicks shoots him in the head basically, and you're like, what the hell, you needed the information? And he's like, look, and you look down and he's a fucking droid. It's just another bishop model. You see the kind of like the milk or whatever white stuff coming out of his head. So the bishop that you have on your team, your group, he basically downloads all the data from this bishop into him so that they have all the information to take down Weyland-Yutani. And the very end is like, oh, please tell me you got it, bishop, please tell me you got all the information. And he's just like, something like, oh, I got it, or something, and like, done. That's it. That's credits. You're like, that's it? Like, I would have liked an extra cutscene seeing them actually take down Weyland-Yutani. I mean, it would have been, you know, there's no gameplay in that, but I would have liked an extra cutscene just to see them take down Weyland-Yutani some way, seeing as they talked about it for half the freaking game. It was always like, let's take down Wei Yu, let's take down Wei Yu, and then at the end you don't see them take down Wei Yu. That was kind of annoying. They did have good Easter eggs though. So basically, as I mentioned before, when I was wondering if it was maybe Hudson that was the captured Marine, well, no, it was not Hudson, because he is an Easter egg in this game. So you basically find out Hudson's fate. There is a part in this game where you're trying to get back to the other guys in the group, and you crawl out of a vent or something into another sewery bit, and right in front of you, like in a nest, kind of, you know, strapped to the wall with his goo stuff, is Hudson with a hole in his chest. Poor Hudson. You can just tell it's his face. You can just tell it's him. You're like, oh no, Hudson's dead. So you could kind of guess what would have happened to him, but yeah. So that's an Easter egg, which was kind of cool. There was another Easter egg. It was there's a bit when you're in the sewers. The sewers, where all the water is from, where Newt falls into in Aliens, where the aliens get her, and Newt's doll, her doll head, Casey, is there. It's not like in the water or wherever it would be, like if you were following exactly what happened in the movie. It's on like a barrel, so you can see it. It's just sitting there, it's just his doll's head. So that was kind of cool as well. And I don't know about like for other consoles or versions or whatever, but for the Xbox, that is like, it just pops up as an achievement if you find it. I didn't find it, but I saw it in a walkthrough and I was like, oh, that's so awesome! It's new doll! So there's an Easter egg as well. And as I mentioned, there's like Bishop's legs and stuff at the start, which was cool. Another thing with this game, there wasn't nearly enough tension for an Aliens game. I mean, I know it wasn't Alien, it was Aliens, which was way more of an action than a horror or psychological thriller or whatever. It was more of an action game. But there wasn't enough tension in this game. And there was like one mission or part of a mission where you didn't have any weapons. That was like pretty much the only tense bit in this whole game. You're on your own in this bit as well. And you have to get back to your other guys in your group, so you have to be a bit more stealthy. There's aliens in this bit. It's in a sewer bit, and there's aliens in this bit that they can't see, but they can sense movement, so you have to, like, when you see them move, you have to keep still until they, like, hunch down again, and then you can go. So there is a bit of tension in that, and that is good, but as I say, it's only for, like, a part of the game, which is a bit disappointing, because that is the only bit where there is real tension in the game. If you were playing that bit, though, on multiplayer with two of you, that would totally take away the tension, because there's two of you there. That bit is only designed for one player. You know, like the cutscene, you're you know, cocooned up and you're, like, cutting yourself down. Well, you only see one person doing that. So if you're a two-player, it would kind of take away some of the tension, because you'd have someone there with you. You know, it's supposed to be more tension. You don't have any weapons. You don't get them until you get out later. So it is a good bit, but again, it's only for a slight bit of the game. So the motion tracker, you have that in this game as well, but again, not enough tension, because, you know, you hold the motion tracker up and there's either nothing, or, you know, you hear the beeps, but it doesn't really build up enough. Basically, you hear the beeps, there's the alien. It's not like beep, 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 you know, like in the movie where it creates tension, you know they're getting closer, they're getting closer, they're getting closer. It's just like, you hear it and they're there. There's no build-up of tension for that either. So that's, again, a bit of a disappointment. But, whatever. So that's, like, the main game, which, yes, I liked, but, as I say, there are a lot of bad stuff. There's a versus mode, which I feel is probably, well, it's for online, and I'm pretty sure it's just for multiplayer, because I tried to go in and I was just standing there by myself. There was nothing to do for, like, the 5 minutes it counts down or whatever. But you can basically play as a Marine or a Xenomorph, and, you know, whichever team you're in, you're fighting and killing the other team. And you can customize them, like weapons and armor and looks and stuff. You can get, like, DLC, I think, to, like, make the aliens have different styles of head and body and stuff. So that's kind of cool. But the DLC for this game that you get is mostly for the kind of online multiplayer. So again, as I say, you get weapons and you can get characters and stuff for this online multiplayer bit. So you can play one of the DLC that was actually in this, but this is pre-owned, so I couldn't use it. Grr, is you can play as, like, Apone and Hudson and Hicks and one or two other ones. I think Drake as well. So that's cool, and I think they got most of them back to do their voices as well. So that's cool. I don't think they didn't get Bill Paxton, but I think they pretty much got every other person. And obviously they're all older now, but most of them you can still tell it's them. So that was cool as well, but I had to look that up online, because, as I say, I couldn't, the code didn't work. Grr. So the other thing you can get for DLC for this online multiplayer option is the movie map packs, which is cool. I think you get 4 in this one, and you can run around the Nostromo, which looks awesome. You can run around Fury. You can run around the power plant-y bit at the end of Aliens, where it's turned into a nest and Ripley's trying to find Newt. And a cool bit in that I saw when I looked up online as well is that every now and again you see the little flares that Ripley drops so that she doesn't get lost. So they're on the ground, so that's kind of cool. The other DLC, which is definitely worth checking out, is the story DLC for this game. Now, it's basically, as I was saying before, it's about Hicks. It's like a prequel to this game, so it's set right in between Aliens the movie and this game. And it's just kind of explains what happened to Hicks and how he ended up back on LV-426 at the start of this game. And it's definitely worth watching. Again, I watched this online, a walkthrough. I will leave a link below to the first part of the one I watched, because it was really good. I would have played this if I had known about it previously, but I just watched it instead. I think it was like $10, £10, something like that. It's probably worth just getting, but as I say, if you don't want to do that, which is perfectly fine because I didn't, just check out the link below and there will be a walkthrough, and then you can just go through that to the next ones and watch it, because it's definitely worth a watch. There are some great audio logs in that one. There's one from Burke. Well, it's not from Burke, it's like he's sent a message, obviously, to the company, and they're transcribing it basically. So they're saying what he said, and it's, you know, him letting them know that the guys, the Marines and all that, they're planning to, like, you know, blow up the planet and quick get here before they do that, because obviously they'll destroy everything otherwise. And then they say that there's like a woman's voice in the background, and the woman is obviously Ripley, is saying like, "Come help me with Gorman," or "Help me move Gorman," or something. Like, it's really cool. It's just like, ooh, it's another little fan thing that I really enjoyed. I'm just such a fangirl. So that's the story DLC, and as I say, out of the DLC, like, that's the best for me. That's the one I would have enjoyed the most, and I would definitely recommend watching that. So in conclusion, because I'm finally done now, I promise. In conclusion, I would say get the game, but get it cheap, get it pre-owned, because it's definitely not worth the full price, because it's glitchy as hell. If you're a fan of the story, get the game. As I said, the game itself is glitchy, so it's definitely not worth full price, and I can't imagine how some people felt paying at least 40 quid for this game. And then the way it turned out, like, there was too many hands in this game. There was lots of developers. It was supposed to be with one developer. They kind of shot it off to another company to finish bits up while they worked on one of their other new games. I think it was Borderlands 2. So it kind of just, I think they had great ideas for it, and it just fell by the wayside when too many cooks spoil the broth, or whatever the saying is. That is what happened with this game, I think. But as I say, also, I would play this game if you can. I can't, because I have no friends. But if you can, I would play this game 2-player, because then at least someone has your back, instead of me doing all the work and the AI character is doing nothing, and then when I'm doing something and I turn around and there's an alien right behind me. Like, this game was so hard to play for me, single player, whereas if there's two of you there, you would breeze through it, you would just enjoy the story, carry on, get it done. It would definitely be worth, if you can, playing it 2-player. And as I say, also check out the story DLC. It's called Stasis Interrupted, and I will leave a link below. So that is it. I'm finally done, I promise. That it was my game review for Aliens Colonial Marines. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you agree with anything I've said, or if you think this game is just utter crap and there's nothing redeeming about it at all. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!